that's entertainment. You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he gonna play again? When's he gonna fight again? You know, you gotta be able, if you can't put in the seats, you're gonna get fired. You know.
40 fight, and I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's gonna win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
Weight game. So Israel Majimov says that if Terrence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make, and that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Mike Tyson, after spending time training with Terrence Crawford, shared powerful insight into what really matters before a fight of this magnitude. For Tyson, the biggest battle isn't always physical, it's psychological. He explained that under the bright lights and the weight of expectation, the pressure can break a fighter before the first punch is even thrown. Tyson believes if Crawford can master his mind, stay calm, and block out the chaos, then he'll unleash his full potential and make victory look almost effortless.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody thinks pressure's like getting on stage. No, pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is going, I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I am.
Right. So
It's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl. I see every...
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fights sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towels? Because I'm sweating like a pit with one hole up here.
You sweat.
We will get you one.
You sweat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sweating pretty hard there too.
Exactly. So, Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that when they hit you, you was like, oh, okay, this guy hits pretty hard?
Amir Khan, who has stood in the ring with Canelo Alvarez himself, understands the magnitude of a potential clash with Terrence Crawford. He praises Canelo's greatness and unmatched experience at the elite level, but also warns that Crawford is no ordinary challenger. With added weight and strength in this division, Khan believes Crawford is now more dangerous than ever. To him, this isn't a one-sided fight. It's the collision of two extraordinary talents, where either man could change everything with a single move. While Khan respects Canelo's dominance at higher weights, he reminds fans not to overlook Crawford's adaptability and his uncanny ability to rise to new challenges. In Khan's eyes, that's what makes this showdown nearly impossible to predict.
He did that to Canelo after, so to your point, can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, throw off the catch and shoot? I was gonna catch and shoot,
We're not catching the shoot.
Make me think.
We're not catching the shoot.
We're catching it, resetting, and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner. I had a look on my face, I guess. And my dad said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." Like, classic Sean, nothing. He said, "Sean, tell me what's wrong." I said, my legs are kind of tight. He said, "Your legs kind of tight?" He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
It was a habit, probably.
He said, all right, we're not gonna use our legs so much this round. And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not trying to wear these shots.
Yeah. So to your point, when there's a feeling,
when the nervous system goes out,
where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. I was
lost the round.
Whatever. Hell up.
I don't even know what round it is. Chill out.
You don't even know what round it is. Pour this water on you. So we got some time until this fight. So we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast. The week of Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff. And
analysts have been quick to raise concerns about Terrence Crawford's age and readiness at higher weight classes. By the time this fight potentially happens, Crawford will be 38 years old, a stage where even the greatest fighters cannot escape the toll of time. Though he impressed in his move up to 154 pounds against Israel Madrimov, that single performance hasn't convinced everyone that he's prepared for a natural super middleweight like Canelo Alvarez. In boxing, age is more than just a number. It slows reflexes, tests stamina, and makes recovery harder, all critical when facing a relentless opponent. While Crawford's skill set remains razor sharp, the question is whether his body can still respond with the same intensity it once did. For many observers, this isn't just the biggest test of Crawford's career technically, it's also a battle against his own physical limits.
Being successful, September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terrence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israel Madrimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terrence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terrence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terrence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terrence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terrence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israel Madrimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israel Madrimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Crawford and his team have been vocal about their preparation, stressing that they are determined not to repeat the mistakes made by Jermell Charlo, who was outclassed by Canelo. Crawford is adamant he is not Charlo. His style, discipline, and ring IQ, he argues, make him a completely different challenge. Training camp has been built around strategies of movement, precision, and smart pacing, knowing that brute strength alone won't topple Canelo. The plan is clear: frustrate him with defense, limit exchanges, and strike with sharp counters. To prepare, Crawford's camp has pushed through grueling conditioning drills and sparring sessions designed to replicate Canelo's trademark power and constant pressure.
Team Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermell Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terrence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermell Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now, it's definitely worth considering that while it's technically...
Analysts have also raised concerns about the natural risks of moving up in weight. As fighters pack on extra pounds, speed and agility often take a hit. Recent photos of Terrence Crawford looking noticeably bulkier have fueled speculation about how the added size will affect him. Still, experts warn that images can be deceiving, camera angles and lighting don't always tell the full story. The real question remains, at his age and with more weight on his frame, can Crawford maintain the quickness and fluidity that have always set him apart? Muscle may bring more power, but it can just as easily chip away at stamina and flexibility, two qualities Crawford relies on to outmaneuver opponents.
Because the man is simply human. I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're going to be slower. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terrence Crawford carrying the 168 division, when it comes to the 168 pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terrence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes, I know that we have seen the new pictures of Crawford with him looking absolutely massive, but I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terrence Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Yes, of course Terrence Crawford gained weight, but the pictures make it seem like Terrence Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 2 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting, and a nice angle. I would look completely different than when I look right now, or getting out of bed, which I just did.
Respected trainer Abel Sanchez has been blunt in his assessment of the potential showdown. In his view, Crawford doesn't stand much of a chance against Canelo Alvarez. Sanchez went as far as to describe the matchup as more of a sparring session than a true contest, insisting that Crawford is simply too small to hang with Alvarez over the course of a fight. His comments echo a widespread belief in the boxing world that Canelo's natural size, raw strength, and wealth of experience at higher weight divisions give him a decisive advantage. While Sanchez acknowledges Crawford's greatness, he argues that even elite skill has limits when it collides with the unforgiving realities of size and power.
Crawford, quote, "It will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Alvarez." Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo, and it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to the ring, Gennady Golovkin, trainer, says, quote, "Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights." And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, "If Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower and Canelo will dictate the pace." Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Chris Algieri offers a sobering counterpoint to the wave of excitement surrounding this fight. While fans and promoters have billed Canelo versus Crawford as one of the greatest matchups in modern boxing, Algieri isn't convinced. He acknowledges the intrigue, but insists it falls short of the legendary encounters of the past, bouts where both fighters met in their primes on truly level ground. In his view, Crawford's move into a heavier division tilts the scales, making the fight less of an even clash and more of a high-risk gamble. Algieri warns that the public may be overstating the drama, overlooking just how much Canelo's proven dominance at higher weights could shape the outcome.
I love it because I have a lot of casuals who go to me and like, man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that could be made. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see, and a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, you know. And Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody says it. So thank you.
This guy, he didn't say his name. Yeah,
I like this guy. He came out there and just said his piece and left.
That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But,
what's up with that bullpen?
Yeah,
all right, I'm out of here.
I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like you said, there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like I'd rather see.
That's a great way to put it too.
Yeah, Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean, but this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year, to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it. Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Dan and Chris. Love the show. This is Nero calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now it's becoming sort of a standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question, but can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of that fight? Personally, I think it's a bridge too far for Bud Crawford, and I think people are underestimating Canelo, but who knows?
Boxing analyst Showbiz The Adult brings attention to a critical contrast between the two fighters, the quality of opposition. He argues that none of Crawford's past opponents could realistically endure the level of competition Canelo Alvarez has faced. This difference in resumes, he says, cannot be ignored. Canelo has consistently tested himself against world champions across multiple divisions, often emerging victorious. At the same time, critics of Alvarez point out that he has occasionally been accused of handpicking favorable matchups, choosing opponents that present less risk. Yet supporters push back, noting that nearly every fighter Canelo has faced has been highly respected, many holding championship belts of their own. When the records are compared side by side, the distinction is clear. Canelo's career has unfolded against elite-level competition at varying weights, while Crawford, despite his undefeated record, has not encountered opponents of the same stature. For Showbiz, this disparity underscores the enormous challenge Crawford faces.
Name the fighters Crawford fought who would beat Triple G. That Spence that Crawford fought, that Kell Brook that Crawford fought, that Sean Porter that Crawford fought, would any of them beat Callum Smith at 168? I'm not sure how many fighters Crawford fought would beat the Miguel Cotto that Canelo fought. This is what I'm trying to say. When it comes to skill, experience has a lot to do with it. Case in point, you get an Austin Trout, you get a Caleb Plant, you get a Lara, you get a Floyd Mayweather, you get a Bivol. Just those 5, when it comes to experience, gives him the right experience that when he fights Crawford, he's not like, I don't know what this is like. There's not one fighter Crawford fought that would give him the experience against Canelo.
Reports and training footage reveal just how intensely Crawford is preparing for this monumental challenge. His camp has been relentless, mixing strength training, high-level sparring, and grueling conditioning drills designed to sharpen his endurance. Crawford has even been experimenting with new training methods, ensuring his body is ready for the heavier punches and longer exchanges he knows are coming against Canelo. But this fight isn't just about physical readiness. Crawford's team stresses mental toughness, discipline, patience, and composure under fire. And that's where the heart of the debate lies. Can Crawford's slick defense and masterful movement hold up against the relentless pressure of Alvarez? Because unlike Errol Spence, whom Crawford dominated, Canelo brings a different danger. He has the size, the strength, and the strategic patience to wait for that one perfect opening. And when he finds it, he makes it count.
And that usually breaks them down. So with some fighters, I see is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills. He does everything almost like perfect. But yeah, he's flat-footed, but you got to realize that he also has hell of a head movement and body movement. He understands, and he's perfected that rolling with the punch thing. He's been rolling with punches, like just to take off the steam off the punches.
Former world champion Kell Brook breaks down why he leans toward Canelo in this matchup. While he respects Crawford's victory over Errol Spence, Brook stresses that Spence is no Canelo. The Mexican superstar brings a rare combination of power, experience, and tactical mastery that Crawford has never faced. Canelo thrives at higher weight classes, consistently proving himself against bigger, stronger opponents. Brook believes that while Crawford's technical skills are elite, they may not fully prepare him for the challenges posed by Canelo's ring intelligence. He frames this fight as perhaps the toughest of Crawford's career. Never before has he faced a fighter so complete, with so many advantages in size, strength, and strategy.
You've got to sway towards Canelo. Crawford's going to have to, move up. And, I knew when I boxed Golovkin, there's a big difference, especially with someone that, fighting a middleweight, a mediocre world champion's okay. But when you're fighting someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo, but, Crawford's very, very, very good.
You think Crawford's still got the legs? Obviously, he's very much got great IQ in the ring, but he's very much a good mover as well. Do you feel like he's still got the legs to be maybe out-moving Canelo if he needs to?
Well, I don't know. I think when we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. He's more. He kind of sets his feet. He's just. He's cute with how he approaches chucking shots and moving. You know what I mean? I think it's a different fight to Mayweather, and Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he boxed Mayweather.
That's it for today's breakdown. Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for more updates. Until next time.